Good morning, good evening, and good night, everybody. My name is Sarah, and I am once again not alone. Should we do introductions, everybody? Kelpie, you may go first.
She didn't see you, Kelpie.
Sorry, I was just like, sorry, I was.
You may go.
Yeah, okay. I'm Kelpie. I use they them pronouns, and will I say my TikTok as well?
You can add any handles you want. It will also be down in the description below if you forget.
Okay. I have a TikTok that's Kelpie's Lake with the dash thing. I don't know.
Okay, hi, my name is TJ. My YouTube is Gadrian Agrest, and there's no underscore or anything. And my cosplay TikTok is NB Cosplay, and my main TikTok is homos_r_us.
I was already a guest star, or a guest on Sarah's channel, but I'm
You are
Julia.
a star.
What? No, but thank you. I'm from the YouTube channel Reader's World. That's also on my Twitter. My TikTok user, though, is Julia Rhapsody. Got it back.
Nice.
Yay! We're so happy.
All right, so today we are talking about all our favorite books, well, some of our favorite books, we have a time limit, that have queer representation. As a disclaimer, we all deeply love anything by Rick Riordan, so we're not talking about him no matter how much we want to.
This is a too obvious choice.
Anything by him, please read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But besides that, we all have picked out one of our favorites, or one of the books that we're most passionate about with LGBT plus representation. We have manga, graphic novel, and 2 novels to talk about today. So with that all being said, let's dive on in. I'm going to go first because this is my YouTube channel. So the book I picked out to talk about is The Song of Achilles. I never stopped talking about this book after I read it. It is the love story between Patroclus and Achilles. It is their story from childhood all the way up to death. It is love, it is loss, it is war, it is tragedy, and I am so obsessed with this book. The representation in this book does not have any specific labels. However, Patroclus and Achilles are obviously in love with each other. Neither of them show any connection to any female characters, so I am going to say that they are both gay. However, Greek does tend to have more of a bi representation in that sort of mythology. Potential trigger warnings for this does include rape and sexual assault. However, these are both mentioned in passing. It is not a focus of the story, but if you are concerned about that, don't pick this book up. So, anyone want to say anything about this book, about why you want me to tell you why you should read it? Does that make sense? Yeah.
You've already convinced me enough.
It is Greek mythology.
I'm really just gonna go under the desk and just be like, okay,
So,
here we go.
I just said before, like, I literally have it on my shelf because I was looking. It was literally in
Same.
my basket for the longest time.
It is already on my shelf. I could just roll back there and pick it up. I think we have like almost the exact same copy, Sarah.
So, Greek mythology, gay romance, tragedy. Apollo shows up at one point and basically just drop kicks Patroclus off of a wall.
Oh my god, I remember that.
I actually love that
Chiron.
so much.
Chiron is just very
Chiron.
good in it.
It's a very good book. I highly recommend it. It's been like 7 months since I've read this book, and I still think it's going to be my favorite of the year. So, that's my pitch for why everyone should pick up this amazing book. Moving on. Who's next?
Kelpie.
Kelpie.
Okay. The book that I picked is kind of like a autographical book called The Bride Was a Boy. It's a manga that's like of a bunch of little comics talking about Chi's life. Chi is an alias, by the way. She doesn't want to reveal her actual identity and stuff because she mentions it at the end. She isn't actually out to some people in her life, and she wants to kind of keep it that way. So basically she had a Twitter where she made a bunch of comics about like her life as a trans woman, and she decided to make a proper biographical thing about her life that's also educational parts. It's the reason why it talks about being a bride in the title, because it also technically talks about her love story with her husband and how they got together and stuff. It's like there's no intense trigger warnings in here. It does talk about laws and stuff and legal things when it comes to being trans, and it brings up the fact that you still can't get married in Japan if you're a gay couple and things like that. But it doesn't. Thankfully, she hasn't gone through too much hardship when it came to coming out of the closet and being a trans woman. So there isn't that much talking about it. It does talk about surgery in it for a while, so if you're squeamish about that, it will come up. I love the art style because it's like a very cutesy art style. Wait, let me get a little colored piece of it. It's like an extremely cutesy art style, like all chibi characters. But also, I think it's like a really important thing to read, like to give you like more of an outlook on like queer people outside of like your country, basically, because like that's one of the main reasons like I wanted to read it, because I wanted to know more about like a woman's struggles as like a trans woman, but not just in like my country or America, but like in Japan, like a further distance. Like I thought it was just, I wanted to like just expand on like what it's like to be queer in other places, and this was a great book that came up about it. And she's super, super educational in it. Like that's her main focus. Like she wants to educate you on like not only her life and what it was like for her, but she also makes it a point to talk about, but I'm not the only one like this. Other people go through this, other people that she talks about how she's very lucky and she's very recognizing of her luck in the situation of having an accepting family, of having like a boyfriend that fully accepts her, because like he didn't know in the beginning, and then she informs him, and she was like, thankfully he was very understanding and stuff. He was a little bit shocked, very understanding, and she's like, but that's not the same for everyone. And like I just love it so much. It's so cute because it's a real lovely, it's like such a cute love story, but it also educates you about so much about like LGBT rights in Japan, and also how being like transgender works and how she transitions and stuff. It's so insightful, and also such a lovely love story inside of it as well. I'm just so happy for her and her husband, basically. I think there's actually a drawing like she asked him to do of them, and it's like very cute. Do you have any questions?
No, I just love how much you're excited about this. It looks so adorable.
I do remember seeing like when I think this for the lady first gained popularity, I remember seeing like strips of the comics on Tumblr and Twitter, and I thought it was very interesting because I did choose a manga for this, but I do know that with LGBT stuff in Japan, Asian countries do tend to have a little bit of a more traditional approach to things as in society. So stuff like that, where like focusing on like someone who's LGBT is a very, very big step for publishers to take.
That's why it's like, this is also interesting because it was like online, which she just published it like free, basically talking about her life online first, and then because it gained traction later on, she was managed to get a publisher. She does talk about like laws in the countries and how they're outdated and like stuff. She is blunt about that. What was it? Because of just like, and she talks about how specifically Japan does things different to other countries and how that affects their lives, basically. And also, she technically, she got married. She managed to actually get married under like Japanese law to her husband because of weird loopholes in the law that made it so she could get married to her husband. That's why it's such a big point of her book as well. And it's so cute. Like, I'm so happy she was able to do it, but it was like she literally like found out by chance, like, wait a minute, I could actually get married. Like, and stuff, and like it goes into like how she like was convinced that she wouldn't be able to or like get married or have like a stable relationship at all, and then it goes into like gay people still not being able to get married in Japan and stuff, and that's good. Like it's very insightful, and I'm so happy I know so much more from this.
Okay, so in a similar vein to the Song of Achilles, today I have The Dark Wife by S.E. Damer. I don't know how to say the last name. I'm gonna just
I never say the last name of authors, and I get in so much trouble for it.
Yeah. So this story is a twist on the tale of Hades and Persephone, where Hades is a woman. So this is basically just a lesbian retelling of the myth of Hades and Persephone, where Hades is also a woman. And it is very interesting because the book does it doesn't just have like, boom, Hades is a woman now in the story and then just ignore that. It also talks about issues that Hades faces as like being the ruler of such an important domain, but also being a woman and having to be on top with Zeus and Poseidon. And okay, regrettably, in most stories involving Zeus. The trigger warnings for this story do include sexual assault. Not the main focus of the story, but it does play a role with Persephone's friend, so that is a pretty major trigger warning for the book.
So besides it being Greek mythology, what specifically will drive someone to read it? What's the setting? What's the characters? What do I need to fall in love with?
Well, like I said, it is a lesbian retelling of Hades and Persephone, but it does go into more depth with that. Instead of Persephone just eating the seeds and then getting stuck in the underworld, she still does that by choice. There's a lot more build up to that and her decision. In fact, the main reason that she goes with Hades in the first place is not because of romance. It is because she is seeking haven away from Zeus, who is her father and who doesn't claim birthright over her until she's like 18.
So it's more of active Persephone type of story, which is also
yes, it is very active Persephone type of story, and they do slowly fall in love. There is like very much a lot of that build up instead of like the original myth where Cupid pops out with his arrows pops out and is like, okay, Hades, I'm gonna shoot you now. Boom, you're in love with the first girl you see.
Julia, you're up next.
Me, hi. So the kind of series I have to recommend to you all is the Heartstopper Comics by Alice Oseman. Now you can get these bind-ups, you can get the physical copies, but there is free version on an app called Tap-S, I think that's what it's called, where the author will update every week, but I can't focus on that. So basically what the Heartstopper Comics is about is two boys in a boarding school in somewhere in the UK, and they fall in love. Talk about the representation in here. We have a gay main character, we have a bi main character who discovers he is bi throughout the first volume. Of course, they are the main male-male relationship. There is a side female-female relationship. There is a side transgender transgender character. And then in the third book, there is kind of a side male-male relationship between two adults. The trigger warning, though, I have for this series is homophobia, biophobia, and then specifically in the third volume, there is a plot about the main character having an eating disorder. So if you are worried about that kind of stuff, I think for the comics, the author will have trigger warnings. So in case I forgot anything, she will have it up there for you in case.
That is gaining a lot of popularity on the internet recently. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, also I think there's supposed to be a TV show coming out, like they're in production of a TV show.
Nice.
I'm hoping for it to be animated because I think it would be so cool to have that as an animation, but I wouldn't mind it because there's no like visual effects that they would have to have unlike a certain other TV show. Anyway,
I'm still getting comments of people saying, no, it needs to be live action. I'm just like, I grew up on anime. Leave me alone.
I really like animated series, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Me too.
I'm sorry, I have a preference, and clearly everyone here shares it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for them to do live action, and every one of those people commenting like that wanted a live action and complaining about the visual effects, and I'm like, well, I wonder how else we could have ignored this. Oh wait, if we had an animated series, oh my god, crazy, right? It's not like actually, we said that before.
We always go back to Percy Jackson. That's just the way our minds work.
It's a circle. It's a circle of life.
No, guys, I love how it's just like a bunch of adults in a room. Why isn't it animated, guys?
We're adults.
Where's my Percy Jackson anime?
I've had a dream.
I want an anime.
I've had a dream where I was in the board meeting, like organizing the Percy Jackson series, and everyone's voting on live action, and then I'm like the little the little assistant, and I'm like, I think it should be animated. Everyone's like, what are you saying? And everyone's like right there, like, yeah, you tell us, what do you want it to animate it? And I'll be like, here's my presentation on why Percy Jackson should be animated.
And they listen to you. The end.
I love that.
So all of us clearly want our stories have some sort of adaptation. Would you prefer animated or live action because this I feel like has potential to be live action, but because the characters start so young and then they grow old together, I'm like, that would work best with like avoid casting and like just go straight to animation, but I'm like, there's nothing stopping you.
Yeah, it's just like for my one, of course, I would pick animated because of like her cute and simplistic art style as well, so it would be easy to animate it. And also like she has like pop-up bits that are like just straight up her trying to educate you on what like there's this one thing where she just talks about gender identity in it and stuff, and like how it works, and like what and like changes over the years and stuff like that. So her having the cute little pop-up of her animation and then going through a little like demonstration, I can totally picture that. Obviously, like because I'm picturing kind of an anime type pop-up thing, like segments between shows and stuff, so it can cut between her life story talking about how she met her husband, her coming out, talking to her parents and stuff like that. Then it cuts to her little like educational bits as well. You get best of both worlds.
And I think with mine, well, this isn't a very long book. It's about like less than 300 pages. So I feel like this is something that could probably be pulled off with the live action. I think a little better just based on the story and how it goes, and also because I just want to see hot women acting.
Very
not wrong.
We all know what we're here for.
Yeah.
Pretty ladies, please.
I would be fine with either. I personally wouldn't be too mad about it being live action, but like I really love the art style, and just I've colored my copy, but I've been like look how pretty this would be in like the same art style. Like that'd be so cool. The only thing that I would be worried about with Heartstopper being live action is since they're in high school, I would be worried about casting the ages, and also in the similar sense, all of Alice Oseman's books are connected, so there's characters. So like for one of her books, I think it's called Solitaire, the main character of that is this main character's sister. And then one of the characters from Radio Silence is best friends with the same character. So if they wanted to adapt those, then I would be worried. But also aging, because they're in high school. And we all know with TV shows, people just love to age up high schoolers and cast 25-year-olds.
I understand aging up like the cast if you want to like make sure that a kid isn't put in like weird situations and stuff like that. But I can see the problem of it. It was just like, yes, I am like you, child.
Like, I mean, the age that I'm fine with casting like teenagers is probably like 18 through like 21 is the kind, or 22 is the range. But once they're up in 22, that's where I draw the line.
If you've graduated college, you can't go back to high school.
I also wanted to comment on Kelpie's book because I watched a documentary recently about transgender media, and I haven't seen any cartoons or animated series about transgender main characters, so I think that'd be really interesting to see that on a screen.
I think there's like, I do know that there's two, like, they're newer series that talk about being trans in Japan specifically that are out that are animated.
I can only think of like one series that has like a transgender character in it, and that's Boku no Hero Academia. And but it is a side
High School Host Club, but that's just me.
Oh yeah.
See, I still think Haru is gender fluid or whatever.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Definitely.
Non-binary icon.
Or I don't know.
But there is like a character in Boku no Hero who is transgender, but he's like a side character who only really shows up for one arc, and it's not mentioned in the comics. It's not mentioned like dialogue in the series itself.
It's like a character sheet thing.
At the end. Yeah, the character sheet thing.
The SPSs. I was also going to mention, it wasn't My Hero Academia. I was going to mention One Piece. They recently introduced Okiku, which is a character who is an amazing 9-foot-tall samurai who is a transgender woman who can, like, people are so pushing for Okiku, which is the transgender woman, and Zoro, which is our main character swordsman, like best friend, to get together. And I'm like, their chemistry is so good together. And I'm like, no one can let go of One Piece because it's been going on for 20 years. And I'm like,
still adding new characters?
They've done it. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, every arc they visit a new island and new characters get introduced. And I'm like, they did it.
But, people are still questioning if, like, is there going to be any more crew members with One Piece? And, like, it's been going on for so long.
Jinbei is, like, he's like, maybe he'll join, but maybe he won't, and then people want Carrot to join, and I'm like, I can go on a whole rant on One Piece. I really need to stop.
Yeah.
But yes. So yes, we all clearly have lots of love for any books with any sort of representation, especially if they're Greek. We have a bias here.
We have a
The original
huge
game.
bias.
We
I
have
know, the original game. No, but like anything Greek mythology, I read.
yes.
This isn't Greek mythology, but I'm still showing it off.
Not my
No.
one either, but like.
So, what have we
Gotta not
learned
be
today?
predictable.
We all love Percy Jackson. There's tons of different representation out there in media, and different forms of media as well. Not just books, but also manga and graphic novels. They're just everywhere out in our world, and you should read all of them, especially this one, because it's amazing.
Yes.
But yes,
Yes.
thank you guys all so much for watching. Everyone's links will be down in the description below, along with the Amazon, or just sort of a link where you can buy these books and these copies and these editions, because you should read them. But once again, comment section, be free. While you're in the comment section, hit like, subscribe, and look at everyone's handles, because they're all amazing, and I love them so much, and you should all go love them as well.
It's amazing.
Love Sarah too.
And with that all being said, good night, good evening, and good morning, everybody.